Welcome back to the second part of my NPPE preparation video. In part 2, we're going to cover section 2 of the NPPE syllabus, ethics. The information I'm sharing here is based on the recommended textbooks. The first textbook is the Canadian Professional Engineering and Geoscience Practice and Ethics, 6th edition by Gordon C. Andrews. The second textbook is The Practical Law of Architectures, Engineering, and Geoscience, 2nd Canadian edition by Ryan M. Samuels. First, we'll go over a high-level summary of Section 2 Ethics. Section 2 Ethics is mostly concerned with teaching professionals about the 4 different types of ethical theories in the Code of Ethics, as well as how to apply them to solve ethical dilemmas while working as a professional. In theory, professionals can apply the 4 ethical principles to solve ethical dilemmas. In practice, to ensure every professional solution is both technically correct and ethically right as a group, the professional is expected to follow their association's Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics is a set of clear ethical rules that are easier to apply than philosophical theories. When the professional fail to meet their association's Code of Ethics, they can be disciplined for professional misconduct. This is because most associations' Code of Ethics is enforceable under the Provincial Act for the majority of provinces and territories in Canada. Before we begin, a message from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by the NPPE practice exam at npppracticeexam.com. npppracticeexam.com allows you to practice taking the NPPE exam in a simulated situation before doing the real thing. There are 4 test sets to pick from, with over 400 questions to practice off a reasonable price. If you click on the link below and it applies a coupon code, you can get 20% off of their unlimited package. Section 1. The role of ethics in society, cultures, and customs. The first section basically addressed the question, what is ethics and morality? This can be kind of confusing because ethics and morals are used interchangeably in everyday life. 2 definitions are given in the context of professional practice exam. Number 1, morality is what is right and wrong, and ethics is one of 4 branches of philosophy that studies morality. Under this definition, ethics is one of the 4 branches of philosophy. Each branch investigates different fundamental questions. The 4 branches are as follows: ethics, logic, epistemology, metaphysics. So for professionals, ethics and logic has the most practical application in terms of guiding them on how to make ethical decisions, while epistemology and metaphysics are highly theoretic and is rarely used in practical application. Under the second definition, morality is the value and beliefs of an individual, and ethics are fundamental principles shared by everyone. Each of us have our own moral principles. What I believe is right and justified action may not be shared by everyone. Therefore, it is important to develop moral principles as a group and society as a whole, and those common moral principles are the basis for the creation of laws. Laws are driven by society's collective sense of morality. However, what is immoral isn't necessarily illegal. What is illegal isn't always moral. For example, it is immoral to cheat on your spouse, but adultery is not illegal, at least in Canada. Section 2. Ethical theories and principles. Engineers and geoscientists are skilled in solving technical problems. However, many technical problems have ethical consequences. The professional must have ethical knowledge to ensure the solutions are both technically correct and ethically right. The NPPE exam covers 4 key ethical theories that apply directly to common ethical problems and are basis for many of our laws and code of ethics. You don't need to understand or memorize in depth each school of ethics. You just need to know enough to apply them in the actual exam. The 4 ethical theories are: 1. Mill's utilitarianism, which tells professional should pick the solution that produces the maximum benefit for the greatest number of people. 2. Kant's formalism, or duty ethics. It basically tells the professional that the correct action is always follow ethical rules that's universally accepted by everyone, even if by following the rules it will cause harm. In addition, Kant's formalism says people should not be used as a means to achieve some other goal. 3. Locke's rights ethics. Locke's rights ethics says every person is entitled to a set of rights simply by existing. So the professional should take a course of action that respects everyone's rights. Aristotle's virtue ethics. Happiness is achieved by developing virtues or quality of character through deduction and reasons. What Aristotle is saying is that ethics is based on behaving with virtue. And virtue's quality is determined by the golden mean, which is a rule that says virtue's quality is between extreme excess and deficiency. For example, courage is universally considered as a virtue, and it is between 2 extremes, which is recklessness and cowardice. So most times, the 4 different theories on ethics agrees on the action that the professional should take to resolve an ethical dilemma. But what happens if the theories contradict each other and don't agree on the ethical action to be taken? The right answer is you gotta pick the most appropriate theory to follow. Kinda ambiguous, right? Like someone giving you advice, telling you to always follow your own heart. The ethics textbooks recommend a very methodical way to figure out what's the best theory to pick in case if they all contradict each other. And there's a very engineering methods that includes 6 steps. First step is recognizing a problem and gathering information. Number 2 is define the ethical problem. Number 3 is generating an alternative solution by applying all 4 ethical theories. Number 4 is evaluate alternative solutions. Number 5 is decision-making optimization. Number 6 is implementing the solution. Since applying ethics theories directly can yield contradicting answers, clear rules are easier to apply than philosophical theories. This is why the associations created the code of ethics that is based on the ethical theories. This provides a clear and consistent set of rules for all members to follow. Section 3, Code of Ethics and Professional Engineers and Geoscientists in Canada. The Code of Ethics can be voluntary or mandatory. The most important one is from your association, which has legal status, meaning that it derives authority from the Provincial Professional Engineering Act. So if you do not follow your association's code of ethics, you can be disciplined. Making the provincial association's code of ethics mandatory. Other types of code of ethics is voluntary. For example, most professional technical societies have its own code of conduct, which is voluntary. Each provincial or territory associations have its own code of ethics. Although they're slightly different, they're all based on the Code of Ethics that's developed by Engineers Canada. The Code of Ethics developed by Engineering Canada have the following 10 points. Point number 1, hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public and the protection of the environment and promote health and safety within the workplace. Number 2, offer service, advice on or undertake engineering assignment only in area of their competence and practice in a careful and diligent manner. Number 3, act as faithful agent of their clients or employers, maintaining confidentiality and avoid conflict of interest. Number 4, keep themselves informed in order to maintain their competence, strive to advance a body of knowledge within which they practice and provide opportunities for the professional development of their subordinates. Number 5, conduct themselves with equity, fairness, courtesy, and good faith toward colleagues, clients, and others. Give credit where it's due, and accept as well as give honest and fair professional criticism. Number 6, present clearly to employers and clients the possible consequences if engineering decision or judgment are overruled or disregarded. Number 7, be aware of and ensure clients and employers are made aware of the societal and environmental consequences of action or project and interpret engineering issue to the public in an objective and truthful manner. Number 8, report to their association or other appropriate agencies any illegal or unethical engineering decision or practice by engineers or others. Number 9, treat equitably and promote the equitable treatment of all clients, colleagues, and co-workers, regardless of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental ability, marital or family status, and nation of origin. Number 10, uphold and enhance the honor and dignity of the profession. For most associations, if a member breaches the Code of Ethics, it will result in discipline. This is because the Code of Ethics in general is enforceable under the Provincial Act, either explicitly or understood, with the exception of the Professional Engineer Ontario's Code of Ethics, which is slightly different and is not enforceable under the Act. However, the Provincial Act provides a detailed definition of professional misconduct that basically have the same requirements as the Code of Conduct. Section 4. Common ethical issues and dilemmas, making ethical decisions. The first type of common ethical dilemmas that you'll face is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest is when a professional receives benefit or have relationship that interferes with their duty owed to the client or the employer. There are 3 categories of conflict of interest. Clear conflicts, a type of conflict that clearly compromises the professional service to the client or the employer. Potential or latent conflicts, a type of conflict where there is no conflict that exists at the present, but a conflict can exist in the future. Perceived conflicts. Basically, there is no conflict of interest, but from an observer point of view, there may be believed that there is a conflict. So a professional must try to avoid conflict of interest, including all 3 types of conflict of interest that was just mentioned. For example, they must fully disclose a conflict of interest, don't accept gifts or bribes, refuse favor to specific people, and do not misuse their authority for personal gain. There are many different scenarios of conflict of interest. For example, accepting secret commissions, misusing an employer's facilities, secret employment or moonlighting, self-serving decision, influence peddling, abusing confidential information, arranging future employment. However, we don't have time to go over all those different scenarios. I may make another video to cover these in the future. But for your own exam preparation, you should understand and know what those scenarios are and what they mean. Conflicts between technical authorities and management authority is another common ethic dilemma that you'll face. At the end of the day, employers are concerned about profits and meeting deadlines, so this drive for profitability can often lead to conflicts between the management authorities and technical authorities. Whereas the technical authority not only have obligation to their employers, but they also have a duty of care to the public that has a priority ahead of profitability. There are 4 common types of conflict between technical authority and management authority. The first type is management overrules technical advice. In this situation, the professional is expected to explain their advice to the employer or client in writing, clearly explain the consequence of ignoring advice, and get a response in writing to ensure your message is fully understood. The second type of conflict is when management asks professionals to engage in illegal activities. Pressure on management to generate profit usually translates to pressure for professionals to cut corners. Professionals must advise the employer the action is illegal or refuse to comply. The third type of common conflict is activity contrary to the code of ethics. Employers may ask a professional to perform an action that is not a clear criminal act, but a breach of code of ethics. The professional must decline to act and inform their employer of the code of ethics. The last type of common conflict is activities contrary to the conscience of the professional. While many activities are not necessarily illegal or a violation of the code of ethics, but it could still be immoral and could go against the conscience of the professional. The professional must decide whether or not if they want to continue to work for their current employer, and if the benefit of working for their current employer is justifying, taking part of activities that's contrary to their conscience. And if the benefit isn't really justifying, then they really should start looking for other employment. And if they choose to stay in their current job, then refusal to participate in the activity risk dismissal and unemployment. Other type of common ethical dilemma is duty to report and whistleblowing. The professional have a duty to report illegal or criminal activities in the workplace. If an illegal activity creates a hazard to the public, urgent action is required from the professional. The professional should notify their employer first, and if the employer ignores it, and the professional is forced to choose between his duty to the public welfare and his duty to the employer, since the professional's duty to the public welfare is paramount, the professional must take the following 3 actions. The professional must notify his or her supervisors, and if need to, the senior management to correct the problem. If the senior management is unwilling to fix the problem, the professional must notify the external regulatory agency as the last option, also known as blowing the whistle. Lastly, by remaining in his or her current position will imply the professional is in collusion in the illegal activity, then the professional should consider resigning in protest. Other area of potential ethical dilemma is loyalty to the employer. the professional has an obligation to keep the client's affair confidential. And this may imply that the professional had to sign a confidentiality agreement. But if the professional notices that during the project there is a environmental or safety hazard where dangerous to the public is involved, the code of ethics or regulation requires the professional to reveal confidential information to the authorities. But the confidential agreement says otherwise. The professional faces the breach of contract or breaking the law. Therefore, it is always good practice to include a clause in the confidential agreement that allow the professional to release confidential information when dangers to the public is involved. The professional is obligated to keep their employer's trade secret confidential. If a new client is a competitor of a former client, the professional must not accept a contract that requires disclosure of a previous client's affairs. If only the appearances of conflict exist, the professional should seek the former clients to confirm. Other area of ethical dilemma is limiting practice to area of competence. For a professional bidding on a job, it's tempting to over-stagger your qualifications and skills. The professional should be transparent and honest about their skills and knowledge when bidding or applying on a job. The professional should be aware of the capability of their subordinates as well. Don't assign work that is outside of their areas of competence. Plagiarism and copyright infringement. Plagiarism is claiming credit for work not of your own, usually some type of copyright infringement, and a serious academic offense. Therefore, professionals should always cite their source in order to avoid plagiarism and copyright infringement. Professional responsibility versus employment issues. There may be time that employment issues can arise that impacts the professional's ability to perform their responsibility, like a demanding manager. It is up to the professional to recognize the problem and deal with it according to the code of ethics. Professional competence. The professional should only take on work that are within their area of competence. Professionals can take on work that is currently outside of their competence and skill set in areas that they are familiar with, that they can become quickly competent after studying and research. For example, if you're being asked to work on a cutting-edge technology project, you must be confident and have sufficient knowledge in that subject area that you can become quickly competent. Otherwise, you'll be working outside of your professional competence and you really shouldn't take on that project. If the professional finds him or herself in a situation where a project is beyond their ability, they must seek assistance and hire the necessary help immediately. The professional cannot place the client's project at risk by their lack of competence. Reviewing work of others. A professional should always notify the other professional before the review with the intention of having full open communication between the professionals, but not necessarily seeking permission for the review from the other professional. Exception for notification of review can be granted for a special situation, for example, where public safety is involved, when lawyer requests a review under confidential solicitor-client privilege, or in situation where proprietary matters take precedence over informing the other professional. Confidentiality. This section covers very similar material as this previous section, loyalty to the employer, so please refer to that section. foreign assignments. So this is when a Canadian professional works overseas on a foreign assignment. So this type of situation is not addressed by most associations. The New Brunswick's Code of Ethics states that absorb the code of the local country, and if none exists, follow the Code of Ethics. This may be very difficult to carry out. For example, following the code strictly will mean that the professional and the company that the professional works for must leave the country, and that particular country is underdeveloped, then that country would not have the opportunity to grow and develop without the technology and the investment from a more developed economy like Canada. One way for the practitioner to navigate the situation is to apply the ethical theories. For example, Aristotle's golden rule says to strive for a balance between two extremes. So in this case, the Canadian professional working overseas should look at the higher standard of the Code of Ethics and compare with a lower standard in the developing country and find a balance in between the two. By taking a balanced course of action allows the professional and the professional's employer to continue working in the developing country, which will simulate the local economy and in the long run raise the living standard plus work and safety standard of the developing country. Some general guideline for professionals practicing on foreign assignments. When working on a foreign assignment, the professional should try to avoid exploitation and paternalism, as well as bribery. The professional should respect human rights and the cultural norms and law of the local country. They should promote the country's welfare, protect health and safety, protect the environment, and promote society's legitimate institutions. This concludes the second part of the NPPE preparation YouTube video. Please let me know if you have any comments or area where I can improve. And if you liked and enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.